driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And now, back to the Sports Joc, Wayne Gandy.
Welcome back to the Sports Joc Show. I'm the Sports Joc, Wayne Gandy. Before I bring on my guest, Coach Scott Ratliff, tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. Just want to make sure I tell you all, go by a Taco Bell and get your free biscuit, taco biscuit. They're giving out free to anybody that drives up a taco biscuit. Just want to make sure you get your taco biscuit. Taco Bell, the taco biscuit. Taco Bell and the taco biscuit, yeah. On Cinco de Mayo.
Because nothing says Latin culture like the biscuit.
Thank you, Big Kenny. You see what I was coming at? Like,
Jose, we need to have a fiesta. Let's get something to eat. What would you like? You like the tortas, the tortillas? No, let's have some of Mama's homemade biscuits. Oh, just like she used to make when we were growing up on the farm. Mama never made biscuits on the farm, Jose.
Thank you for getting it. I'm trying to figure out.
Mama never made biscuits. How did we get the taco biscuit? Help me. When does ground beef, seasoned ground beef, lettuce, cheese, and tomato on a biscuit make sense to you? Somebody in Taco Bell's advertising department is sitting at home like, Mama, I'm for real. They pay me for this stuff.
I was wondering how long you were going to connect what I'm saying.
Mama, they actually paid me for the idea is what I'm telling you. And baby, you know you don't put no taco on no biscuit.
And you, to me, it's a slap in their culture because you're releasing it on Cinco de Mayo for free as though it's a thing.
Listen, no.
It's like it's not really a thing, the taco biscuit. That's not giving any homage.
But when you look at the connection, the same dude that invented the taco biscuit has a brother that invents Floyd's mouthpieces. You know what I'm saying? And they're sitting around like, dude, we are geniuses. We need to keep finding stupid people to buy our stupid ideas.
Oh, man.
And if you buy a taco biscuit tomorrow,
No, they're free. Go in the morning, you get
you are a racist fatty. That's what's wrong with you. You are racist and you are a fat slob because you are willing to go to Taco Bell and get a biscuit.
Yeah, I don't want biscuit with my taco.
Okay, can I get that taco biscuit? You got some mild sauce.
Here on the Sports Joc Show, you know we like to venture.
Really quick, what goes with the taco biscuit? How do you wash it down? I'd like a taco biscuit and cerveza, please.
I guess that's,
some tequila. I need a shot of tequila with that taco biscuit, man.
This is a mirror. I don't know what we're doing. But tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo. Somebody, one of y'all, please go out and get the taco biscuit and let me know how it tastes.
Look at it.
Raise your hand. Who's going to get the taco biscuit? Who's going to be the volunteer? Okay, I knew you would. Go. Let us know. Take a picture when you bite it. See what's in it. And you get some habanero honey sauce with it, dipping sauce. These people are crazy. That is the craziest
because
thing right
there
there.
are sometimes when you wake up for a taste for habanero honey. I didn't even know that existed until now.
Here on the show, we always like to try to find all sports to recover. They found a sport that I know very little about, but I do have a gentleman on the line who knows everything about it. GAC, a school that I know very well. My daughter attends there. Coach Scott Ratliff, who is the varsity lacrosse coach, the assistant varsity lacrosse coach. Good morning to you, Scott.
Hey, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning. Are you going to get you a taco biscuit?
Oh, yeah, you know it. Southern culture mixed with a little Spanish culture.
Yeah, Southern culture mixed with Spanish culture. In California, they call that illegal immigration.
Well, Scott, bringing you on the show has enlightened me into something I had no clue even existed, which is the Major League Lacrosse team. They have Major League Lacrosse. I did not know. Who knew? How long has this been around?
It's actually, this season is the 15th season. So
15 years. Wow.
Yeah, it's been around for a little bit.
And who is y'all David Beckham? Do y'all have a David Beckham of the Major League Lacrosse? Is there a person that we should know?
Well, yeah, there's one guy. His name's Paul Rabel. He's kind of, I guess, what you'd call the face of the sport. He's got a lot of big time sponsorships. Financially, he's kind of one of the few that can pretty much make a living just as a lacrosse player. So I know he's got Red Bull behind him and GoPro and some other big companies. But the sport's growing, and that's part of the challenge is getting more of the players' names out there and growing the popularity.
And you yourself play for the Boston Cannons.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, how many teams are in the league?
Right now there's 8 teams. I believe they're looking at expanding this off season to hopefully go up to 9 or 10, and that's kind of been in flux. In the 15 years, there's been up to 12, 13 teams at one point, and down to 6, I think. So I think kind of probably like any professional sports league getting started, there's a lot of change and different opportunities for growth. So either way, though, I definitely enjoy it and think it's very good for the sport.
Paul, good morning. This is Big Kenny. The NFL draft was just this past week. Does lacrosse have a draft like that? When does it happen? How many rounds do they have? And is the first round draft pick usually taken from college? Do they select people from overseas? How does that work?
Yeah, so they do have a draft. They do it around Christmas time, just maybe December or January. So they're picking players who still have to play their senior season in college. So you get drafted. It's a spring sport in college, so you get drafted right before your senior season. And then the Major League Lacrosse is a summer season. So basically, right when your college season ends, you could play in a college game Saturday, and then let's say you lose and it's the playoffs, you can play in a pro game the next day on Sunday. All the draft picks do come from, or for the most part, actually, I think there was one Australian taken in the past draft. For the most part, they're all, college players from here in the States.
And so with them having to play their senior year, there is no 2 or 1 and done. You can't go be a lacrosse outstanding player and then just say, okay, I'm leaving college and declaring for the draft. Right.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to do that anyway because with the way that professional lacrosse gets paid, you're gonna want that college degree.
We're talking to Scott Ratliff. He's the assistant varsity lacrosse coach at Great Atlanta Christian. Scott, looking at football and over the last couple of years, how people have talked about all the concussions and things like that. What is the rate of concussion? Because there is great opportunity to run into each other, correct, in a lacrosse game?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a physical sport. You're not getting like the wrap-up hits like you are in football, but there are a lot of body contact. I mean, I'd probably compare the physicality more like hockey in terms of kind of hip checks and a lot of shoulder hitting. So from my experience, I don't think I've had any recorded concussions playing lacrosse in my career. There's certainly an opportunity for it, but I think it's probably a little less of a risk than playing football.
Is it one of those sports where you get to, say, high school and then you just go out for it, or is it a sport where kids already come there knowing how to play it?
No, it's definitely something that's starting at the youth level. Down here in Georgia, it's a little bit newer. It's very popular in the Mid-Atlantic, up in Baltimore, and then up into the Northeast, in New York and Connecticut and a lot of those states. But no, it's massive at the youth level. At a lot of the schools here in Atlanta now that have kind of established programs, you're seeing very similar to football. They're starting with youth teams. So, at Greater Atlanta Christian, for example, you'll have your junior Spartans, and they're playing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then coming into the high school season. And in terms of building a program, we're trying to kind of follow the same footprint that football uses, where they've got guys in their junior program learning systems and offenses and terms that they want them to have when they show up in high school. So that's kind of part of the challenge of growing the sport and what we're trying to do at GAC and really, I think, a lot of schools across the state.
Do you have a lot of football players that come out for the team? I think somebody do some research real quick while he's answering this. I want to say that Wilt Chamberlain and maybe Jim Brown were lacrosse players back in the day, which is very interesting because they never really say that part of their lives. But one of those two, I think, were lacrosse players.
Yeah, Jim Brown, and he actually is part owner of the New York Lizards, which is one of the professional lacrosse teams. He's kind of definitely a big name in the lacrosse world and is always supporting you definitely see a lot of overlap with football players. Football being a fall sport, lacrosse being a spring sport. It's kind of a great way to stay in shape and develop some different hand-eye coordination and different skill sets. I went to a high school at Walton High School over in East Cobb, and one of my teammates was Chase Thomas, who went on to play football at Stanford, and I believe is with the San Francisco 49ers now. So he was a great lacrosse player as well, and I think as the sport grows, you're seeing more and more of those guys that are starting to play both.
Yeah, I used to work out over at Walton
Right.
sometimes.
Paul, you mentioned growing the sport, and you spoke of some of the challenges. Lacrosse has always been seen sort of as an elitist sport, a sport of the rich and privileged. How have you been challenged with trying to somehow minimize that image, or does it even matter that people look at it as an elitist sport?
No, that's definitely true, and I think that comes from the sport's popularity in private schools, and it probably starts up in the Northeast. It's, the prep schools and a lot of the private schools up there are some of the kind of national powers. But truthfully, at its roots, lacrosse is a Native American sport, and it's the oldest sport in American history. It was used
something else the white man stole from the Indian. Outstanding.
Hey, I wouldn't say we stole it. The best player in the game right now is actually an Iroquois national, so I'd prefer to just say we share it with them.
Yeah, and then tomorrow they'll have the wampum biscuit at Taco Bell.
Well, yeah. So anyway, it's a challenge. That's definitely part of the culture with it, and a lot of the perception that people have. My experience around it is there's certainly an extent of that, but I think as it continues to grow, you're seeing it pop up everywhere, and not just at the private schools, even in the inner cities and different places. And I mean that's great for the sport.
Well, Scott, thank you for calling in. And now, Big Kenny, we got a Lacrosse Connect that we can call on to help us learn a new sport. I'm all into learning new sports.
Exactly.
I'm a little too old. I might have to be the goalie or something. I can't do a lot. They do too much running in lacrosse.
My son plays lacrosse for James Madison, so
oh, really?
I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I still don't know. You know what I mean? just looks like him playing a lot of sport with his white friends.
Thank you, Scott, for calling in.
Yep, no doubt. Thanks for having me.
All right, Coach Scott Ratliff, Great Atlanta Christian, who has a great lacrosse team. I think they've won the state championship 2 or 3 times over the last maybe 5 years. So 888-926-7562. We'll be back with more of the Sports Joc Show in just a second.